November is Hospice Awareness Month, and many of us think of hospice as the group you call when a loved one is in their final days of life. Yet the scope of care provided is much more broad. And here to discuss that, members of InCare, Matt Kellmeyer, Vice President of Community Relations, and Reverend Gerald Murphy, who is the Outreach Hospice Coordinator. And welcome to both of you.
Thank you.
And you know, Matt, InCare is comprehensive. You offer many things, and you were telling me InCare means just that. You go into folks' homes many times for this.
Absolutely. That is our primary focus, is to allow an older adult or individual who needs hospice to live whatever life they have left in their home.
And as I said in the introduction, many people have a very different view of what they think hospice is until they realize that they need hospice. How do you explain it?
Well, what I would say is there are a lot of misconceptions out there regarding hospice, and they are everything from it's for someone who has cancer, it's for someone who has to give up all hope, lack of control, and the reality is our hospice program, our philosophy is to put the individual and their family back into control, to allow them to live their lives, however long that is, the way that they choose.
And however long that is could be months. It's not necessarily days, which I think is a big misnomer when it comes to
I think you're absolutely right. I think there's a misconception out there that somehow hospice is for someone who has given up all hope and has but hours, if perhaps days, and the reality is hospice can be utilized at a much greater time period.
Reverend, you are part of the outreach program. Explain what you do and how you help families going through this.
Specifically, my role is to be a position or a point of awareness where people will be able to engage with the hospice philosophy and how it can be applied in their own individual lives and own individual homes based upon the loved ones who need it at that particular time.
Do you think that hospice services are underused?
I absolutely believe that they're underused today, but a lot of that is about us getting the message out and showing people how it works and how we can be supportive of them and how that we can utilize their own giving to their loved one and be supportive to that opportunity.
You say you also offer outreach specifically to the African American community. And why is that?
One of the things that we have discovered is that in order for you to do something good about something, you have to know what that good is to be done. And so we need to be able to get the word out and let them know that there is an opportunity for us to be of service to them in a way that they are included, not only in service to their loved one, but in service to themselves at the same time.
Reverend said something very important, Matt, that you touched on earlier, family included. This is your goal, isn't it? To make sure that you don't go in and say to folks, this is what you need to do.
You are correct. What we look at is we ask the family and the patient what exactly is important to you, and then we do our best to make sure that that's what occurs. And something that you've alluded to is the hospice benefit is underutilized. Less than 25% of individuals who are eligible for it in Franklin County ever receive the hospice benefit, and within the African American community, that percentage is even lower than that. And the basis for all of that is there are just a lot of misconceptions and misunderstandings about what hospice is. And our goal is to make sure that individuals, long before they need hospice, are aware of what hospice is and how it can support the people they love, including themselves.
So you think that maybe sometimes folks are hesitant to even call hospice because they figure they can't afford it?
Well, that's a great point. The reality is when people hear of all the services that hospice provides, they think they cannot afford it. And it is an entitlement of Medicare, meaning that there is no out-of-pocket cost because it's already been paid for. The other thing I would like to add when it comes to hospice, and I say the word Medicare entitlement, people are very, aware of our government funding and the fact that, we're always looking for ways to save money. Hospice, through the Medicare benefit, actually saves the federal government money.
And so folks should realize that they can utilize all these ways to bring folks like you in when it's needed.
You are correct.
And so when do you say folks should contact you?
Well, I would say if you have someone that you're caring for, or a loved one, or even yourself, and as I'll give you an example, if you're on oxygen and you've been on oxygen for a couple of years, and perhaps you've been in and out of the hospital frequently in the last year or so, now's the time to at least explore how hospice could actually benefit from you. Whether you're actually eligible or not, the thing that we find on a regular basis is people make very important decisions very quickly. And we would encourage anyone who would like to explore that.
Take time and do it right.
Absolutely.
Matt, thank you so much. And Reverend, it's a pleasure to have both of you here.
Thank you, Gail.
And we're going to call for cash now.